Hello out there in TV land. Thanks for joining us. It's Anthony and Greg on Intelligence. I'm Anthony Maggio, and with me is Greg, 100-110-110-000-110-110-11100 Prost.
I'm looking that one up.
You should.
I think it was 412.
It's amazing you did that in your head.
Yes.
Did you have the AI helping you with this one?
Something like that.
So conveniently on our binary talks intro this morning here as we kick into things, we want to talk about what I think, and I'm going to go a little extreme on this one, okay? I'm going to go my Greg hat on. I'm going to put my Greg hat on. Holy cow, in the last couple weeks, what has happened with the coding? This has gotten scarily good. And when I say that, I mean it is amazing that, not only did we have ChatGPT, use AI made their own coding tool, and Claude had AI create their own coding tool and make their own. I mean, it's not only are their tools creating themselves and optimizing themselves and doing all of that, but then they release it for people to use on an update. So now we've had, and I know you've been playing around with this quite heavily in the last couple weeks here, and you got me on board. I was playing very little with it before, and I'm like, all right, let me dive a little bit deeper into this one.
But you were doing Perplexity and, like daily run my emails and that kind of stuff, which I think is super cool as well.
Yes.
But this like almost completely different things. They're related, obviously, but two different avenues. Not enough hours in a day.
There isn't. Even with this stuff, AI doing its own tasks on its own, there is so much out there that you still spend. I would always tell people I spend maybe 4 or 5 hours a day on it. I've been way past that. It's.
And it understand what we're talking about too. Like you're getting it going, right? You got a project, and you say, "Help me figure this out," and then it runs for a half hour, 45 minutes, and then it comes back and gives you something, and then you spend 5 minutes with it. Okay, yeah, I like that. Or it says, "Hey, do you want me to go on to the next thing? We can fix this part of it," or what do you want to do? Like, hey, let's work on this. And I say, hey, let's work on this. Go, right?
Yes.
And then it works for 45 minutes, and I'm going to do something else, and I come back and go, oh, it's done. Okay, let's spend a little, And so it's 8 hours of it working, and I might spend a half hour with it. That's what's crazy. And it's almost like obsessive, like, oh, man, I got to keep it running. I got to, get back
time.
and do. Yeah, and so while that's running, I'm running another thing here. I'm running another thing here, and trying to make sure I'm thinking about it enough to keep it running. And the people that are running the true agents, like overnight and that kind of stuff, they wake up in the morning and then they just start going again. Like, oh man, great, thanks for running overnight.
And while it's running, and it'll be done in a half hour. Well, you spend 5 minutes with it. It's off half hour later, but then you're spending the next 5 minutes on the next one, and then it's off and running. So now there's 2, and then you spend the next 5 minutes on the next one. Now there's 3, and then so on and so forth. So I guess maybe it'd be helpful to show an example, right? Because, we talk a lot about vibe coding, and for the audience, all of the coding is really what they call vibe coding now. Now, we had a version of this back in high school when I used to program robots to weld, where it was like talking, like say it in plain language. That was like the coding, right? So you would say like move to point A, and you'd go to point A and you'd save it. So it knew when you said go to point A, it knew where the coordinates were, and it was very basic back in the time. And now what vibe coding is really, there's not a limit. You don't have to. You have to think differently about what you might want to do or not do.
Or you're thinking about the conclusion. Like you're thinking all the way to the own.
This.
You say, hey, robot, I want you to, this is what I'm trying to get you to do at the end. So
build a car.
You're going to have to, build a car. And it says, oh, well, I'm going to have to go to point A first and weld that spot, and then it'll know that, right? You don't have to go to point A and then weld it. Just say, here's my end result, and it says, well, here's how I'm going to get there. Does that make sense? Works for me. Okay, I'm going to weld one A. That's just, you're just leaping over all this work. And so, and the thing, you're saying, joking around with me getting excited about this. What's crazy about it is it doesn't just do that. It says, oh, by the way, if I did, instead of going to point A on that first weld, I can go to point Z. And guess what? That gives you this tail fin, that gives you extra, hydroid drag and whatever, and it looks cool, and I can paint it this color. It just starts giving you ideas and to make whatever you're trying to do better. And that's the part that just is on top of things, just blowing me away. Look, I just want you to build this. Somebody built this already, and I'm paying for this. Can you build it? And it says, yeah, I can. Like, cool, go ahead and do that. And it comes back and I'm like, well, what's all this other stuff? And it says, well, I thought, this would be cool if you did this and you like this because you talked about this. And like, oh, wow, those are great ideas. And you got any others? And it says, well, it might take a while, but I'll say, well, what you mean it might take you a while? I just have to tell you to do it, right? Yeah, it might take me a while. Might take a couple hours, but yeah, if you built this database out and did it this way, I think this would be a great feature. Like, cool, try it. So it takes a couple hours, comes back, shows you something, you're like, I don't like that. That doesn't even make any sense. Forget it. Let's try something else. What else you got? It says, how about this? And you're like, okay, sure. A couple hours back, comes back, and you're like, that's the coolest thing ever. All right, let's try something else. It's just amazing. And I didn't feel like I wasted 2 hours on something, right? It didn't work. Whatever. I don't care. I didn't have, 10 interns running for 6 months on something. You get to the end and you're like, yeah, that's not really what I wanted. Can you move that to the left? Yeah, I'll come back in a month, right? Right? And here you're just like, look, and sometimes some of the things I'm like, look, it just doesn't feel right. Let's just come at it a little bit differently. You got any different ideas? And says, I'll put a slider bar in there and I'll try this. What do you think of that? I'm like, sure, whatever. I don't care. Let me see it. And it comes back and you're like, oh, that slider is a good idea, but let's move it over here because that's, and let's get rid of this. And it's just, you're just constantly just making it better and throwing things at you. We waste so much time with like analysis paralysis, right? You're going to figure out, let's say you're analyzing a company and you're trying to really figure something out and you get to the end and you're like, I don't know what that means, right? I don't know if that really affects them. I spent all this time and I'm not going anywhere. Here, it's like, I don't care. Let's throw, spaghetti at the wall over here. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try that. Yes. That's just fun, just intellectually fun.
I couldn't agree more with you on that one. And so here's an example. So I'll throw up for the viewers here to get an idea of what we're talking about because we do a lot of talking, and so we're going to start incorporating some fun visuals here. We'll have to AI create some programming for some like really cool effects or something, maybe some sound effects or visuals. But we'll put that on the AI to-do list.
We already get that from our logo in the intro song.
That's as much as you get. I'll just play that over and over again.
There you go.
So, all right. So, other hat I have is if we go high up FEMA level. All right. So, when there's an incident, they have. I'm going to try to make this very simple. So tell me if this does not make sense. So you have an incident. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be bird flu, plant, water plant.
And you're talking about working with the fire department here.
It's not. No. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So for this one, in this case, it's Oakland County Incident Management Team. Okay. So Oakland County has put together an incident management team. So it doesn't matter what your incident is. Okay. They have a team. And it's a very methodical approach that can be deployed to respond to the incident and offer support. Okay, so they offer everything from. I'll give you one.
Yeah, what's an incident example?
We'll make a. I don't like to use the violence ones; those aren't good. But let's say we have a leak from a prominent Big Three motor company. And there's a leak in...
Like a gas leak?
Like a gas leak from a plant, okay? And so it affects a lot of things. And the residents, and it's getting in the storm sewers, and whatever else might happen. So that community can call for help, right? It's something that they're not used to handling something on a large scale. And so we can come in, and we can offer support for that incident. And it doesn't. You can replace it with whatever. We were in White Lake I'll say that one. That one wasn't, that was a tornado. We had the tornado that went through White Lake a few years ago. We had the Midland Dam break. Okay,
So would you be deployed all the way up to Midland?
We did. I was there for that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So how often are you deployed with this group?
It's
on average
whenever there's a call out.
Once a year?
We get called
10
out.
times?
We get called out probably half a dozen times a year.
Okay,
maybe
that many.
more.
Okay.
It just kind of depends.
Sure.
Sometimes they just want like a few resources. Like we don't really send the team so much as we send like maybe a short team,
Sure.
a few people.
Yeah.
They just need a little bit of help. Every time there's an event, Woodward Dream Cruise, for instance, the NAC conference, we're there for those. So we do a lot of events too. So if it's not an emergency, natural disaster, shooting, hazardous material spill, we do a lot of special events, right? So you think about, you have an area, take Woodward Dream Cruise or take, a Christmas parade in Rochester, where you have all of a sudden 100,000 people. I mean, it's resources. What happens if there's a medical? What happens if there's a fire? You have so many people. How do you get to them? How do you make sure they're safe? How do you prevent bad guys from doing stuff? That's what the team does, right? We work on those resources and plans and build out and thinking through them and executing and keeping the community safe. So so my role on that team, even though I have the fire experience and all that, I function as the finance section chief. Okay, so my role is the finance side. So think of it as, what is this costing me, local community, right? I have 100 people here. I don't even know where communities these guys are coming from. Do I have to pay for this? Do I not have to pay for this? How do I get reimbursements, not get reimbursements? Who called for the crane? I didn't say it was okay to buy a crane. Where'd the crane come from? I'm not paying for a crane. Where'd the helicopter? Why is there jets? I mean, literally, that's so function on the finance. We track. We make sure everything that's there is supposed to be there. It's authorized to be there, and there's a way to pay for what's there. And we do a lot of reporting, putting the information together, and then we give things called like a burn rate. So how much is it costing per hour? Right, so we work in like operational periods. So let's say it's 12 hours, 7A to 7P. Tomorrow at 7A to 7P, here's what we want to accomplish. Here's I need this many police, fire, cranes, whatever it all is. We cost that out to say, hey, it's going to cost you $488,000 for 12 hours tomorrow. Do you really need all these things? Do you not need some of these things? We try to help manage and keep the community economically from being destroyed and decimated, because
and you're forcing this on them too. Can they say,
No.
"Hey, we don't need you guys"?
No. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So they have to ask for the help.
Okay.
The way the hierarchy works is it's always local control. So if they ask for help, then we'll come help. If they don't want help, we don't. It's nothing to force it. It's your city.
That's what I figured.
You do whatever you want. If you don't want help,
Sure.
do it yourself, I guess. No problem. Okay. But we have all the resources available. We're tied in with the state. We've been up to, I was up in Menominee. I was in Saginaw. We go all over the place. Because the one thing, Oakland County being kind of the wealthier county, has more resources for things like training and education and getting people, paying for people to go through things. So it's a little different, but we go wherever is fine. And there's agreements for how they reimburse the county and the cities and all that sort of stuff. And anyways, we're not going to that role. But so we had a class this past week. And, so I'm in this class, ICS 320, and we're learning, it's kind of like a mock exercise. Okay, so they give us the scenario. There's a little bit of class at the beginning, like PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint, and then you get into the scenario. And the experienced instructors, we had 3 of them, and they do this for a living. They respond to incidents across the country and out of country, and they go to all sorts of things. A couple of them spent their careers in the Coast Guard doing incident management, wildland fire. They've seen it, they've done it, been there, done that sort of thing. So we get a lot of experience. They get to say, okay, let's see your briefing. You do the briefing. Okay, and they give us some critiques. Okay, don't forget about this. You should do this. You forgot about this sheet. They help us kind of kind of sharpen the tool. Like we got a really good foundation, and they're going to help us kind of hone it in. Okay, so I'm sitting there first day of class, and we're all operating as a team. We got an Oakland County team there. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm like, how do I get AI in on this? Because everything in disaster preparedness is paper. Everything's paper. And so, but we have computers, so it's just the paper on the computer. I mean, it's super rudimentary. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to code myself something. So I went to the AI tool, and I said, all right, I'm the finance section chief. Here's our mock incident. And I just grabbed the summary for the incident and put it in. We happen to use the paper plant fire in Menominee as the scenario. And we started the exercise. And I said, all right, I want a program that will cover everything that I need to do and be responsible for as a finance section chief, all my responsibilities. I need this all in a program. So, and that's all. I didn't go too in depth with it. It will do its own research, and it did. So it's like, okay, finance section chief, FEMA, rules, responsibilities, roles. What does it do? It does this, it does this, it does this. And so it created, so I'm sitting in class. Okay, so they're talking and the death by PowerPoint's happening. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, okay, so it gives me the first mock-up and it's on the right side of the screen. And I'll show it here in a second here. And
just real quick,
yes.
When we're talking about coding, we're not coding.
I guess
right?
we are.
We are, but we're not writing the code. We're just telling it what to do, and then we can see it writing this code under it. And again, everything has code. Every electronic piece of equipment has code. I don't care how small it is.
Yes.
It's ones and zeros, right?
It's just
ones and zeros. So that's all it's doing. It's a little more sophisticated than that, but obviously. But that's all too. So when we're talking about this, that's the leap that it took, that we can just tell it what to do and it'll write the code and you can mess around with it that way. So just to make sure people understand, we are not coding. Anybody can do this. It's just a search bar, right? Just like at ChatGPT, same thing. It's just next to the search bar. On the same page, it's doing what you're asking it to do. So you can see it actually materializing.
So here's kind of here. I'll put it up here. So here's what it gave for us here for me. And so I saw this, first version on the right side of the screen, and I'm kind of clicking around because you can use it while it's on the screen. And I'm like, oh, I want to be able to edit that name. Hey, can you make it so I can edit this? Oh yeah. And I don't like the colors. I'd like to do this instead. I'd like to do this instead. I'd like to do this instead. And this ended up being, 9 iterations. So, and after I was done using it for the week, I added some afterwards stuff that I thought would be good for closeout reports and that, and it coded that into it. So I'll start that off on the next time. So we have everything you see here was made start to finish, 9 versions, all within a half hour. And what it gave... And
over that half hour, it was 29 minutes of it working and 1 minute of you typing something in.
Yeah, like 10 seconds of me typing 9 times.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is what I'm talking about on how we kind of build it out. So at the bottom, we have all the different categories. You don't need to go into like super detail, but it researched everything. And it said, okay, so we need to have a burn rate. That's the gauge on the left side. So that's however many resources are active, that's how much you're paying cumulatively per hour. During the peak of the exercise, it was roughly $34,000 an hour, right? So when people are looking at like, oh, how much does it cost for responses? $34,000 an hour. And the second dash, that was important to me. That's in purple there. That's the grace period. With mutual aid agreements and kind of how calling for help works, there's either a 12 or 24-hour grace period. Like if you call for help, the first 12 hours are free, but if you want me to stay and continue helping, you have to pay for that. Every community is kind of like expected to give 12 hours of free if a neighbor calls for help. but not use them for 5 days unless you got to pay for that. But if you just need some help to get it under control and that covered. So that's the second gauge, because what I wanted to track, and that's what it was doing, was I need to know when those 12 hours are up. And if I have $15,000 an hour in grace, I know that grace period is going to end, and that $15,000 is now going to shift to I have to pay this. And then on the right, everything from how many assets are idle is important for finance, because if they're idle, do we need them? And everything, a breakdown of total cost. If we got a federal disaster declaration, the default is usually 75% covered by the feds. So 25% of the cost is going to have to get paid. So we kind of built this tool. No, excuse me. So,
Uh-oh. Well, so you can't see, but you got the tabs at the top there. This is just a screenshot, so it's not operational. But some tabs at the top.
Choking.
This is a resource burn rate, and then it just adds tabs, and it, right off the bat, it's amazing how good it is at this. Or you ask, hey, do you know this company that provides this type of software? And it says, yeah, I know that company. Hey, could you mimic what they do? How
Yes.
well do you know the product? And so even this, I'm assuming there are some software programs that it knew what you wanted because somebody had built something like this.
Oddly enough, no.
Really?
Oddly enough, no one gets that advanced. It's paper.
Can I take this and sell it to somebody?
Go for it. So, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So we built this tool out in class, used it, and they thought it was just phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, they were like blown away. They're asking for, hey, we need your report, finance. And I go and I pull up this report. I got gauges. I got a dashboard. I got a report that has all the breakdowns of everything.
Did they think you had done this beforehand?
No, there's no way.
Okay, so everybody
They were
knew
giving us live
things
they were inventing.
So you probably had to blow them away.
Oh yeah. So anyways, this was literally just as we were sitting there in the class, right? So I'm refining this tool. Imagine I don't know, pick your job. Maybe there's something that you do all the time that you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I compiling PDFs? And it'll do it. So that's my 2 cents.
You're going to be okay here.
Well,
I'll talk about
die apparently.
So with what we've been doing, on the investment side, so we've just been throwing tons of things at it. And it allows you to, take it up a step. So if I'm looking at it as an individual credit, I don't have to go through the basics, right? The basics are already done. So I can say, hey, let's try and stress, a certain aspect of this. And obviously, I'm trying to stress AI. So I'll take an individual company and say, what are the moats that this company has that's going to keep it protected from AI going forward, or what aren't the moats? Software companies have taken quite a hit here in the stock market, and this is directly related to everybody doing the same thing we're doing and starting to code here in the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks. And you can see that, wow, I don't need anybody else's software ultimately. And if I feel like that I don't need somebody's software just messing around with this for a month, then 6 months from now I really don't need anybody's software. So all that software, just say Excel, for example, it just writes the code behind the scenes for you. They've done all the work for you. But you don't need it anymore. You can just say, make me a graph, move it around this way, and it's going to make the graph look super cool. It's, it's not just an Excel graph, so you're going to get used to it very quickly. And it takes a little bit. We say, hey, it takes, a half hour to run, it's doing some complicated things. Well, again, give it 6 months, and all of a sudden it's doing it in 30 seconds, and it's doing it in a second or a millisecond. And so as you're just operating your life, it's just going to write code right in front of you to do this as you're whatever it is.
It's going to do it on the fly. You're just on the fly.
Yes.
As you said, you're just going to be there and it's just going to start doing it immediately.
And it'll be personal to you. It'll be built for you and be so much better. So why would you ever buy somebody's suite of software programs when you can just do it on the fly? And maybe there's a few things that have a little bit of a moat. They have something that's a little bit more technical, but every single time I ask it, hey, here's a complicated software system that we're paying, $100,000, $200,000 for. Can you do it? And it says yes, every single time. And it might say, hey, 90% of it's actually pretty easy. The last 10%, hey, it's, I'm not going to do it in a half hour. We're going to have to go through some steps, and it might take, a little bit. You're like, oh my gosh, you mean I might have to type in an extra couple lines here? Really? Okay. Or I have to let you run overnight, Okay. That's nuts. Now, saying this overnight stuff, we haven't gotten these agents running like this. So there are ways to get, 5 of them running at the same time and sicken them on something, that's going to take a long time, and say, there's a million different ways this can go. Test all million of them and run overnight. And then you have one agent that's controlling the other 5 agents in case they get stuck for a minute and can kind of help them out. And you're just sitting there and you just wait for the output, in the morning. That's right here now. Neither of us have really used anything like that yet. I know you're using agents with Perplexity a little bit, but that's something we're going to be talking about over the next months here. There's some safety issues, and you got to set it up right. But can you imagine?
Very important.
Yes.
The security outside of that just becomes so different now.
No doubt. But we were talking about this earlier. If you don't have AI helping you with security, you might be questioned. So if you're using the same security you were using 3 months ago, and people are like, I'm secure, that's crazy. Because people are, you can go into these programs and say, help me break in here.
It's writing code.
Yes.
If it can't break in, it will write code to bypass whatever it is it can't bypass.
So
it's nuts.
And again, people, this is going on right now. For the last month, people in the know are just pounding this stuff out. We're going to see so many new products and so many new things coming because people are just giddy with excitement on what it's able to do for them.
And anyone can do this. That's the thing. And I'll stick with it. I still believe it's true. Anybody can be an entrepreneur. There's no barrier anymore. Well, I don't know how to get a website.
Have you met my friend Larry? Larry, I don't think he'd make it. He's got some issues. So not everybody.
All right. Almost everybody.
All right.
But, I mean, if you don't know how to make a website, it can make a website for you. Like, in no time. That's the silliest, easiest thing to do. Software, he'll make it. Product launch, inventory checklists, easy.
Another thing we were talking about, and this has happened to both of us, where you say, okay, I want you to do this. And it says, well, I can't do that right here. You're going to have to download a program, grab this, dump this here, do this, and this. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? It says, no, hey, you just need to, in the command line, type this in. And I just say, I don't know, what command line? Hey, I am like 8 years old. I do not understand any of this. Explain it to me. And then it just laughs like, oh, sorry. Okay. Right. Take your right hand, put it on the mouse, and then you say, all right, I'm not that stupid. Something in between. But it's amazing how often that comes up, and I get frustrated. I'm like, well, now what am I? Oh, hey, I don't know how to do this. Dumb it down for me. And it does. It's amazing to me. It really is. And how often we come up where it forgets. It's like, oh, this guy must be pretty smart. He's asking me some really smart questions. Okay, do this. And it's like, dude, I'm not a coder. I don't know what you're talking about. Remember, I'm just some poor little man here. Help me out. And we're like, okay, here are all the steps. I'll print this off. I can do this for you. And then other times where it's telling you to go somewhere else. Hey, download this program and get this going this way. And both of us have had this where we couldn't get it to work.
Yes.
And you come back and like, man, I can't get it to work. And it'll finally just say, all right, fine. I will do this for you. I'll go out and grab that and bring it back in here and build a little program. And now you just have to hit a little button. And it's like, why didn't you do that in the first place, right? Kind of funny that it's. I just find that amazing that I just can't get stuck. And every time I do get stuck, I get a little frustrated. I'm like, why am I getting frustrated? do this? Why am I getting worked up? That's crazy.
And it really does do it. It will. If you get stuck, you're just like, I can't figure this out. Please do it for me.
Yeah.
It does. It's like, well, I had it like, well, okay, in order for that, I need you to go into connectors and I need access to, connect me to this. Okay, I go do that. Okay, now I connected you. Oh, all right. And then off it goes. Now it's good. It's got access to Google Drive. It needed some storage or whatever it is, and off it goes. It's really...
Don't make me do anything. You go do it.
It really is.
That's funny.
There's really not any limits to it at all. It's like whatever you can come up with, sky's the limit.
Exactly.
Now I need to program it to make me stop coughing because that would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, you're just right at the end here. You're good. The perils of
just me hacking along up.
No, a human being.
Yeah, you don't have coughing in the air. That's how you know it's real, you guys.
Exactly.
Oh my God! And on that bombshell of I'll need to call an ambulance to take me to get some medical treatment for my cough here. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll have some more live demos as we come up here because I really think showing the tools, and I think we should just walk through some. The listeners will get some ideas and just say, "Hey, what do you want to see?" And we'll just make it live.
Definitely.
And I think that'll be a really cool thing, just so people can see kind of exactly how it works. So,
I agree.
Anyways, thanks everyone. We'll catch you at the next one.